Welcome to yet another episode of my YouTube series. Today I will be talking about a topic that has been a problem in many societies today, and that will be addictions. I'll be talking about the three brutal realities about addictions, what you need to know about addictions, how you can overcome addictions in the part 2 of this particular video. So before we get started, we need to understand what are the three brutal realities about addiction. Most of the time, many people just think, it's okay, I can't be addicted, I just need to try this once and, I'll be fine, I can't be addicted, I can't get hooked on this. But statistics has shown over the years that that's never true. A lot of things have been going on, and addiction is becoming a real problem to society. So before we go further, what is addiction? Now, by definition, addiction is a strong inclination to do, use, or indulge in something repeatedly. That's just a simple definition of what an addiction is. Anything you do or you have a very strong tendency or inclination to do or to use, whether it's a substance, it could be television, it could be engaging in excessive eating, as simple as that, and you want to do it repeatedly, this is what is termed as an addiction. Now, what are these three brutal realities that you need to know or understand about addiction? The first of these is that addictions can become stronger than you. So many think that drug abusers and addicts were weak and selfish. That's what many people who are not into it or who have not gone down that road yet, they always believe that, no, I'm stronger than this, so it can't happen to you. Now, addiction strikes the best of us and the brightest amongst us. No one is immune. There are many fine people who are also alcoholics, compulsive gamblers, or drug addicts. So the only thing that separates you and I are few choices that they have made and that we have made. Usually these choices are at an early age, either during the teenage years or when people are becoming young adults. Now, those choices is what has separated the addicts from those who are not addicts. So, for a non-addict, between your impulses and what you do about them is a space. And in that space lies your freedom to choose. So, in the case of an addiction, your freedom to choose is pushed aside by the power of your addiction. Now, until there is no space or gap of freedom to choose. So what we're saying is that in between your impulses and what you do, there is this tiny space that exists, and that space is usually called the space or the gap of freedom to choose, where you are still in control. You're able to choose either to go down this path or not, either to continue taking the substance or not. But when you become an addict, or when the addiction becomes stronger than you, is that this gap is totally closed. This space will no longer exist. That is when the addiction becomes stronger than you. It has now pushed away your freedom to choose, where you are no longer having that ability to make right choices. You are now pushed by that addiction or the substance that you are addicted to. So don't ever underestimate the power of addiction. It can become stronger than you. Now, the second brutal reality that you have to know is that it is not just about you. Your addiction is not just about you. Many people think that what they do with their lives is nobody else's business. It's a selfish way of thinking, but that is what many have come or gotten to the point of. You do your thing and I will do mine. That's usually what they say. Meanwhile, the reality is when it comes to smoking, drinking, or doing drugs, it is not just about you, it impacts everyone around you. whether you like it or not. Your addictions impact your siblings, your parents, your community. It could be your girlfriend or your boyfriend, your friends, future spouse, children. In fact, innocent bystanders can be affected by your addiction. Taxpayers are affected by your addiction, because if we have government-sponsored programs for free drug addiction, rehabs and all that, these are paid by taxpayers for that system to be sustained. So imagine all the ripple effect that your actions has upon different people. So addiction is not just about you. That is the number 2 reality that you have to understand. Now, number 3 reality, the brutal reality number 3 that you also have to know, is that drugs destroy dreams. We cannot count the so many lives that have been shattered, so many dreams that have been destroyed, unrealized potentials. People have gone down a path of no recovery, and then great writers have been lost in the cesspool of addiction. We have great inventors, great authors, actors, innovators. All these dreams either go dead due to that addiction, or they become unrealized because of this addiction. So drugs destroy dreams. Let's not kid ourselves. There is an ad that I saw somewhere that I read that think about how much you can do with your life. Now think how smoking pot could stop you. Think about how much you can do with your life. Then now think how smoking pot, in some places known as weed or marijuana, could stop you. You can't afford an addiction. So don't ever say yes that you can afford it, it's your life, you can. No. Addiction costs too much in terms of time, in terms of money. It costs you even your brain cells. There is research to show the impact of drugs on brain cells, of smoking, whether it is cigarette, whether it is marijuana. There is always, and there has been research that has shown that it affects or alters your brain chemistry, the brain cells itself. It affects your focus, it affects your relationships, and even your happiness. As a matter of fact, it only gets worse. There is nothing that an addiction, there is nowhere where addiction makes you feel better. As you become an adult, it becomes worse, because you'll be having family, your spouse, your children. It affects them. It affects your friends, people who will relate with you. So don't just think that it is just about you. Come to the place where you have to realize that, look, addiction is not just about me. It is about how much my dreams are destroyed. It is about how I won't be able to realize my potential. I'm denying humanity, the greatness that I can be. And relationships are being destroyed because of addictions here and there. Parents are suffering, siblings are suffering. Society is suffering because we are losing, one of our human capital. Our greatest resource is our human capital. And so for every time that we lose one of that human capital to drug abuse or to addiction, it is a loss on society. Because we can only imagine what greatness that particular individual will have been or will have become. So today I am trying to encourage us that no matter what you have taught or somebody has told you, has tried to show you and is telling you, no, this thing is cool, it makes you look cool, you're going to feel good. No, there is nothing like feeling good. These things have effects on your health, they have effect on people around you and all that, even on your potential and your dreams. I am sure that you want to be something, you want to make good out of life, you want to make a success out of yourself. So why, fall for the lies that This thing is going to make you feel good. This thing is going to make you look cool. So whatever in whatever way you have been sold these lies, that is why I've come today to reveal these brutal realities to you and to let you know that, look, it is not what you have been presented. Evil will always look good. It's never going to come as evil. It's always going to come and present itself as good. And until you get into it and you are deep into it before you begin to realize the damage that it's having on you. I really hope that you will take these brutal realities to heart, to understand where and how this affects you. Don't allow an addiction to take away your freedom to choose. What are some of these freedom to choose? It's self-awareness, consciousness, imagination, your willpower. Addiction will take away all these things from you. And I want to also let you know there are top 10 things that you ought to know about addictions. 1 is that taking drugs is not stylish or cool. It's dangerous and reckless, and you will take your life away. Drugs will take your lives away. And addiction is going to take your life literally away. We have had instances where we know friends, family members, 1 or 2 people around, be it our neighbors, where drug abuse or addiction has taken away their life. So let nobody lie to you. Secondly, the friends you make through addiction only like you because you are part of the addiction. They are not true friends. So let nobody sell you that lie, that these are your friends, they're the only people that care about you. No. It is because you are into these addictions with them, that is why they like you. The very moment that you stop being part of that, you will see how they will disappear quickly. Number 3, that any drug that you take or not kills you and your friends. In the end, the ultimate end result is always death. It's going to produce death. That is why do you think on a pack of cigarettes, even when they have finished all the cool advertisements, they still write that smokers are liable to die young. Warning is clearly written boldly on it. But people still go ahead to do it, to indulge in it. 4, be strong enough to leave your friends who pressure you. I'm listening. Remember, I'm telling you 10 things that you ought to know about addictions. So be strong enough to leave your friends who pressure you. Number 5 is, if one is addicted to something, then he's a slave to that addiction. That's something you need to know, that you cannot be a slave, allow yourself to be a slave to a substance. Whatever substance that may be, whatever habit, don't allow yourself to be a slave to anything. You're supposed to master things, not allowing things to master you. Number 6, addiction is a sign of a bigger problem. You will never overcome addiction unless you search out the real problem and deal with it. Number 7, the key to most things in life is that everything must be done in moderation. That is something you need to know about addiction. We start addiction gradually. Before we overindulge in it. We want more of it. We come to a point where we can no longer do without it, and that is where we fall into that cesspool of addiction, where we can no longer come out of the situation by ourselves. That's where we have lost our freedom to choose. So anything in excess, even exercising, subtly eats away at you and your personality. Number 8, whatever type of addiction, it is not a social norm. Don't ever think it. Because everybody is doing doesn't mean that everybody is right. Or because many people are doing doesn't mean that it is right. Don't follow the head mentality. Because they are going in one direction does not mean that is the right direction. Because a lot of young people are indulging in it doesn't make it right. You can choose to ask questions. So whatever addiction you see happening or people are indulging in it, it is not a social norm. So don't take it as a norm because it is prevalent in society. No, that doesn't make it a social norm. Addictions, number 9, are expensive. It is expensive to buy. It is dangerous to your health. It damages family, makes people die, and are difficult to get rid of. Once you become addicted, these are the things that follow it. It becomes very difficult for you to get rid of your addiction by yourself. It becomes difficult for you to, be able to have that freedom of choice on your own. Your self-awareness is eroded, your conscience is seared, your imagination is totally controlled. Whatever is left of you, your willpower is completely taken away from you. You are controlled by a substance. So number 10, and finally, of the things that you ought to know about addictions is that addictions can be good and bad. You could be addicted to what? To achieving your goals. It's a good addiction. What bad addiction is that you are addicted to a substance, you are addicted to a habit that is negative. This is what we are talking about. So I trust that you have gotten value, that these realities that I have brought to you this very day in this particular series will help you to make better choices, will help you to see the effects that addiction can have on not just only you, but people around you, society, and everything that entails you, your dreams and your hopes, your aspirations. And I trust that you will make better choices. You will fight hard for yourself, for society, for your family, to keep your freedom of choice so that you can be of use to society, you can impact society, and you can leave your footprint in the sands of time. Thank you until I come your way again for the part 2 of this addiction. Look out for it, where we'll be talking about how to avoid addictions.